Dr. M. Subbaiah is an assistant professor in mathematics in L.N. Government College, Poneri. He has specialized on statistics interdisciplinary. Being interested in active research program and mathematical or statistical modeling, he has knowledge in operating various softwares on statistical tools and on technical computing. Having 16 years of teaching experience, he has published papers in 8 national and international journals and has also presented papers in 10 national and international conferences.
Welcome to the UGC lecture series on mathematical sciences. Today, this discussion is about theorems on probabilities. So, the theory of probability, which starts from the understanding from its definition, maybe 3 different type of definitions are available: classical and axiomatic, then relative frequency definition. We have to review just what they say about the term called probability, and then we will specifically use this axiomatic form of or axiomatic definition of probability to clearly understand what these theorems will say and simple proofs on probability using some set theoretical ideas. So, set theory and the notion of probability are combined here in the form of writing some axioms, then we try to use them in the example subsequently. So, theorems on probability will help you to calculate few problems, though the idea of solving a problem using probability may not be that much restricted to a systematic or a mathematical form. It needs thinking, it needs to understand what is happening between the events and etc. But still this is an approach which is widely applied, especially when we follow axiomatic form of definition, which way they define probability. Let us have a quick look, or that is why I call it as a review. So, this is a very classical form. The probability of an event is the ratio of the number of cases favorable to the number of cases possible, with an assumption that we will have an equally likely assumptions. So, if I have 4 events in my hand, I just assume that all the 4 are equally likely. So, 1 by 4 might be a number which may assign to them. Relative frequency is the probability as the limit of its relative frequency in a large number of trials. So, the same definition, but looked at in a different perspective, that to reach that ratio we need to repeat that experiment sufficiently large number of times. So, the question arises naturally, what would be the sufficiency or what could be the number, so that you can decide upon these values. So, this is based on relative frequency. The last one, the axiomatic approach, which we are trying to follow in this discussion. We define probability as a function that satisfies 3 axioms. So, 3 conditions based on that theory is formed. So, we have a sample space for a random experiment, that means an experiment which does whose outcomes cannot be predicted. So, we may not know what will happen exactly, but one thing is we can enumerate all possible outcomes. For example, the usual textbook illustrations start with tossing a coin. So, we may not know what will happen when you toss a coin, but we can say that either head or tail. So, that we can enumerate what are all the possible outcomes. So, even if you can write the exam, or we can go to a cinema hall where you do not know whether you get a ticket or not. So, there are many uncertain events around us where we are able to enumerate all possibilities, but we cannot say which will happen exactly. That is what the word uncertainty means to us. So, we do not know what will happen exactly. So, unpredictable. In that case, we have set of all possible outcomes, what we call it as sample space, and we have an sigma algebra associated with that collection of subset. So, a probability function we define in such a way that it is non-negative, total probability must be equal to whatever the number you assign. When it is taken for the total sample space, it is equal to 1, and if 2 sets are mutually disjoint, then probability of their union will become addition of their probabilities. And we have one more thing to review, is the terminology or the terms which we are familiar with the set theory, where we are using union of 2 sets, intersection, complementation. These are all the 3 major operations we perform on sets. So, union is either in A or in B or in both, satisfy the condition of A or in B or in both. So, if I say a multiple of 7 union multiple of 5, then it can be purely multiple of 7 or multiple of 5 or both, maybe within 1 to 50 if I say. Then we have 5, 7, 10, 14 and so on and so forth, where 35 is the only element which satisfies the condition of A as well as B. Therefore, A union B will precisely will have elements of A or B or both. So, that is the idea of framing union. Then intersection, the elements which satisfy the characteristic of A as well as B, A and B. So, here it restricts. So, it will be a smaller set where there are certain elements which satisfy the condition of both A as well as B together. Suppose I call it as a even number and a multiple of 6, let us say, or the divisor of 6. So, there are two characteristics here. So, 2, 6 are the divisors where they are both even as well as divisors of 6. Therefore, when I form two conditions which would be the characterization of a set, then intersection mean that we have to collect the points which satisfy both conditions simultaneously. Complementation is the negation of, that means the elements which is not in the set. If I say set of all odd number, obviously the complement will be set of all even numbers, because both of them complement each other. That is a word we can say, that is the element which is not in that. Properties associative becomes between two of the between one operation. Similarly, intersection. Commutative, A union B is B union A, like that. Distributive, it distributes, union might distribute over intersection and vice versa, De Morgan's law. These are all the union operation what we have. A union empty set. So, empty set is a hypothetical set where it does not have any element, but it is useful for operations. A union phi is a same A union universal set is same U, A union A, then commutative, then associate. So, the order is not important, that is the bottom line of this associative law. Then distributes, union distributes over intersection, A union B intersection A union C. Similarly, we have for intersection all the similar laws. Now, only thing is the order is slightly different, A intersection union will be A, because it is a smaller set as I told you. Similarly, for empty and then same set idempotent, then commutative, A intersection B equal to B intersection A. If you take 3, then they associate with each other and then distribute with the union. So, these are all fundamentals of set theory. Then again in the complement sets, we have complement of a complement will be the same set, obviously, because A complement will not contain elements of A and complement of it will not contain the elements of A complement, which are precisely the A. Similarly, the other two which are quite simple and evident, A union A complement will be the whole set and they do not have common element, therefore, intersection will be empty. And De Morgan's law again quite interesting and useful. It talks about the combination of intersection and complementation. So, the complementation can be symbolized in at least 3 ways, a prime over here, a bar, or sometime C, small c over the given set. So, here I use the two kind of symbols, A intersection B whole complement will become union of A complement and B complement, similarly these two. So, these identities are quite useful in understanding and proving. In later on we can decipher the given logics into set theory and their operations, and then we try to perform the required probabilities. So, probabilities mainly based on the logic behind the question, whether you need only or you need at least, at most, neither, nor, either or. So, there are certain terms which we frequently used in the scope of probability problems. For that we need to understand how to translate those logics into the formal set theoretical quantities and subsequently which results are to be used. Likewise, these De Morgan's identities are very much useful to handle the complementations together with the union or intersection. I will just make sure that these results will be very much simple and easy to go with the theorems on probability, which are either using the axioms. So, the axioms are 3 and there are few results which might be useful as far as the theorems are concerned, proving the theorems are concerned. So, I will explain few of the results and then we will go to the problems also to solve how to handle those exercises with the help of the theorems. So, my first thing will be probability of an empty set is 0. So, this probability of an empty set is 0, that means this can be in a sense of event, phi can be interpreted as an impossible event. So, the idea of probability brought from the way the events are considered, whether it is certain, impossible, then we have third uncertain in between these two. Impossible event mathematically or in an axiomatic form, we can say that probability of an empty set equal to 0. So, I just take a Venn diagram to explain. So, I have a sample space, I have an A, I have A complement. Here for simplicity I take A prime. So, we have two things we can write from this diagram. One is A union A dash. We have already observed, anyway from the diagram it is very clear. Then A intersection A dash equal to empty. So, that is by the definition of this complement. Now, from the axiom 3, two sets are there, their intersections are empty, mutually disjoint. Therefore, I use P of A union A dash is P of A plus P of A dash. I use a third axiom. Okay. So, that for that I need this. So, now P of A union A dash I will be borrowing it from the first line, P of S equal to P of A plus P of A dash, and that implies. So, you have axiom 2, I will take the second axiom, P of S equal to 1. So, that is P of A plus P of A dash. So, that implies P of A dash is equal to 1 minus P of A. We have a result here, or similarly you can write P of A also equal to 1 minus P of A dash. So, of course, this is a vital result when we are able to get it from this simple Venn diagram. I consider A and A complement, so that I get P of A dash is so and so. So, in the case of this result, which is a byproduct actually in our discussion, complement probability P of A dash can be calculated with the help of 1 minus probability of the original event or vice versa. So, when we have a set and its complement with respect to a sample space, we have derived two identities in set theory that will further help you to derive one important result, that how to calculate probability of a complement. Sometime complement set will be very much useful, because in certain cases, as I told you in the beginning, probability means certain kind of enumeration principle. So, sometime it will be easy to enumerate the complement set than the original. Therefore, it is all for convenience, but that identity is very much important. So, how we get much more result from this kind of set theory and with the help of axioms to have theorems on probability, we will discuss after a short break. So, welcome back to the discussion on this theorems. So, we have seen an important identity with the help of two sets and how axioms of probability is helpful to us. So, I recall this 1 equal to, or P of A plus P of A dash equal to 1, the total probability. I am going to use this very simply. If I replace this A by S and this will be empty. still I have the identity. So, I have what is PFS plus PF phi, and these two will become 1 equal to 1 plus something. So, that is going to be 0. So, once we understand this identity, we can go very simply to prove our required result P of an empty set equal to 0, because in the previous part we have two identity. I just replace them as S union phi equal to S, S intersection phi is the same phi. So, what I try to do is I just replace that A and A complement with the respective sets here. When I take A equal to S, the result still holds good. So, I just write 1 equal to P of S plus P of its complement, namely phi. But by axiom 2 again, the second axiom says that P of S equal to 1. So, that is P of empty, and a simple algebra will prove that P of empty equal to 1 minus 1 0. So, probability of a impossible event is 0. That is how we have to understand regarding an event. We should know about the definition of probability or the understanding of probability. It is a numerical assignment for certain degree of certainty. So, naturally the extreme uncertain events will have 0, and the axioms and set theory will help you to visualize that probability of an empty set. So, empty set is of course, it is impossible event. So, that is how we have to understand set theory for probability. Whenever we claim or we perceive that an event is not possible to occur, that is what we say impossible, then the probability for that event can be assigned with 0. That is the first result. Anyway, it has a byproduct how to calculate probability of a complement. So, 1 equal to P of A plus P of A dash. Then I am going to use one more Venn diagram before I try to do one more theorem, in fact 2 more, but anyway first I will start from a sample space. Then I have 2 sets now, A and B. So, for clarity I just use few lines on 3 different colors and patterns also. So, horizontal I have taken, then I take some slanting. Okay. There are 3 colors and 3 different shapes. So, all of them are referred to 3 different sets basically. Suppose I take this is A, this is B. So, this the red portion is set of all elements which satisfy the condition of A and B. So, from the first point of our discussion, this is nothing but A and B. In set theoretically, this is A intersection B. Let us come to this point where it has elements of A only. So, I use the word only, but not elements of B. So, it should have elements of A and no elements of B. So, I am talking in English, but writing in a set theory language A and no element of B. Naturally, we can find this as only B. So, I do not have the elements of A and I have the elements of B. So, this is a simple idea to understand that a set of 2 sets A and B can be differentiated in a 3 distinct mutually disjoint sets. One is A intersection B dash, second is A intersection B, third is A dash intersection B. So, this will help you to decipher something about A. Okay. For example, if I look at I want the elements of multiple of 5 within 1 to 50 and multiple of 7 within 1 to 50. This example is pretty simple because the elements can be easily enumerated and you can find out that only one element is in the intersection. So, if I take the similar coloring, 35 is the number which is multiple of 5 and multiple of 7. So, if I take B, I have 7, 14 etc. this 35 already we have enumerated, still it goes till it goes to 49. Then if I take A 5, 10 etc. up to 50 it goes. So, what is the speciality of 35? 35 is an element which is a multiple of 5 and multiple of B. So, this is only A, this is both A and B, this is only B. That is how generally I take only A which is written as A but not B, only B, B but not A, both A and B. What is the speciality in that? This theorem is very much easy if you understand this diagram. I take elements of A as either I should have. So, I am speaking in English, but writing in set theory to understand R. Either I have elements of A only or that is union, I can have elements of both. So, compare with this number. If I want the multiples of 5 within 50, I will take 5, 10 etc., then 35 also. So, only 5, both multiple of 5 and 7, that is what. Similarly, B can also be written, but what is interesting furthermore is these two are disjoint again. So, these two are disjoint. So, I call axiom 3. So, P of A if I take, I will have P of A intersection B dash union A intersection B, where these two are mutually disjoint. So, I will add. So, these are all useful results for finding probabilities. So, P of A equal to this one. Not the one direction is important, the other direction is also sometime useful, because this is translated as only A and this is translated as only B. So, I may be interested in A, but if I am interested in only A, this is a formula. What is that? P of A minus P of A intersection B will provide me an expression for only A. That is all. So, in a similar way we can write simply what is P of B. So, P of B would be P of A dash intersection B plus P of A intersection B. So, there are two results from the same Venn diagram. Either I can calculate only B, or I can calculate only A, or I can calculate B or A. So, this diagram will help you to find out two theorems, but my idea is to give importance for the logic. This is only A and this is only B. If I am interested in deciphering this logics only A or only B, then this result might be useful to me. So, one more time I may have to think about the same diagram. So, quickly, not with a distinct color, because it is been done just now. I just have 3 pattern of lines. So, you can remember that particular part only. So, I will emphasize this slanting also we have. Okay. So, now I will do the job in a different perspective. So, what is that? I have only A, I have only B, I have both A and B. Put together, what is that? It should be A union B. So, the same Venn diagram provides one more scope for us. This is ultimately A, this is ultimately B, it has both A and B. So, this diagram gives you one more set, namely A union B. How it can be split? It is only A, that means you are here, or it is both A and B, this is the second part, and sorry, or you are in only B. So, you are the third regimen. Now, you can easily understand that all the 3 are mutually exclusive. So, once again I will use axiom 3. So, that P of A union B will become P of A intersection B dash union A intersection B union A dash intersection B. So, I use axiom 3, all are mutually exclusive. So, I can add A intersection B dash plus A intersection B plus P of A dash intersection B. All these things will be, this is from the previous result. I write only A as this, I do not change this, and I write this as only B. So, B of B minus P of A intersection B. So, one quantity will be cancelled out, rest is P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. This is the well known addition theorem of probability. So, a single diagram, a Venn diagram will help you to understand two important results. Basically, it gives you two logics also, how to enumerate the possibilities for only A or only B, then at least, that is the union. Hence, the Venn diagram or set theoretic approach will help you to understand the theorems as well as to know what it says about, that is the logic. And finally, I am not going to prove, but the De Morgan's law how it helps in a problem. So, if I am interested in calculating this or this, so this is no A and no B, equivalently it is called neither nor. So, here I have a scope to apply De Morgan's law A intersection B whole dash. Here also I have a scope to calculate P of A union B whole dash, but A union B whole dash can be calculated as 1 minus P of A union B. The first theorem we have a sub result, and here also 1 minus P of A intersection B, and here it is again addition theorem we have to use 1 minus P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. So, almost all possible logics, this is neither nor. So, examples are not very limited, it can be generated in any number of forms, any number of shapes, because from the theorems the bottom line I would like to say is what logic we try to catch and how De Morgan's law is helpful to get the answers. So, while attempting in problems, we have to understand to catch the logic behind in the given situation. Am I to use or, else, and, neither nor, only? In those cases, we can make use of this theoretical method of proving the theorems, whatever we have done so far. So, first one, probability of an empty set is 0, where we have one more results also, namely sum of the probabilities of the event and the complement will become 1. So, it is arithmetically also it complements as an additive inverse. Then we have a single Venn diagram through which we are able to calculate probability of a set as only pure elements of A and the intersection. Similarly, the same Venn diagram helps you to calculate the union, that means at least in A or B or both. So, this idea is simply converted as at least one property I want. So, in my example I use multiple of 5 or 7, at least one. So, either it could be a multiple of 5 or it can be a multiple of 7. So, naturally 35 is the member. So, either A or B or both. So, for the third component 35 is the only member. So, therefore, solving the problem may not be so straight away given in the example or problems in probability. We need to decipher, we need to understand what kind of logic we have to apply. So, these theorems will helpful to solve subsequently. In summarizing, we have reviewed few notations of set theory as well as idea of defining probability, and in particular we have taken the axiomatic definitions and how the theorems of probability is proved, then subsequently how it could be applied in examples. For your understanding, I just give two set of problems that at least one of the two events, that means at least I told you it is based on union, only one, either A or B. So, there is a difference between handling OR and this also. So, not exploding, complementation, then either one or the other, then neither of them, neither explode nor. So, the logics of the problems will revolve around either or, at least, neither nor. And there is one more interesting part to attempt, could be the addition theorem what we attempted is for 2, you can try for even 3 or 4. Actually, I specifically given for 4, but there is no magic in the number 4. You can attempt it for 3 or 4 any number. So, that how addition theorem can be extended further. Thank you for joining this session.